Won't say who this is, um, but my only question that I got is, why can't I just fucking you know? Stupid ass question. That's what I was.
Welcome to welcome to the podcast. This is episode I think 8, right?
I don't even know.
Episode X. I don't know.
It's no, it's episode 9. It's episode 9.
We're on 9.
Yes,
Jeez. Okay,
I,
we're
I
flying
just
by.
checked it.
We don't really have much for you guys today. We asked you guys for questions. Only like 2 of you came through, so thanks.
Yikes.
Uh, Super lame, but it's whatever. We still putting stuff up for you guys, even though this is gonna be one of those pods where it's like similar to the first one where we answer some questions and then just kind of like see where we end up, talk about different topics, that sort of thing. So Alex, if you want to put like the little timestamp thingies, that
Yeah, I
could be
will.
useful. Um,
I will.
Housekeeping, run up the likes, share with your grandma, 50 likes, OnlyFans, you guys know the drill. Um, we're probably going to be getting like more guests in the near future. I know a couple people that want to get involved, so we can get that going. We're probably gonna do another trivia sometime soon. I want to make the board for that one, so if you guys want to be a part of that, we need 2 people. So hit us up. Um, Hit us up with topics, bro. We're dry. We're really dry on ideas, but uh, we'll get creative and come up with stuff. Anything you want to add?
No, man. I'm excited to answer these questions. I don't know any of the questions yet, so it's gonna be kind of all off the dome. And then we have a couple topics that we'll hit on later on, but we're gonna get through these questions and see where we are at. So let's
Yes,
get these
sir.
questions going.
Yes, sir. All right, you want to start with yours?
Oh yeah, I'll start with mine. So won't say who this is. Um, but my only question that I got is, why can't I just fucking you know?
Thoughts off the dome? First take, first impression?
Stupid ass question. That's what that is.
I mean, my response is like, just do it, bro. Just do it. Why can't you? You just do it. Like Nike. Get that check, just do it. Uh, Simple as that.
Dumbass question.
You guys did not come through. You guys did not come through.
Dumbass. What?
Okay, I actually got a good one. Shout out to the person that sent me this. So you gotta choose one, all right? Little penises for fingers or little penises for toes? And I asked for clarity because, like, flaccid penis, full chub, like that makes a difference, right? So hard as if they're like fingers without joints. So it's like you take like the joints off and it's just like a hard
Just
wee
floppy.
wee. Not floppy, no. It's like imagine you're full chub, right?
Uh-huh.
And you put like 5 full chubs instead of your fingers.
Okay.
Like
So I'd
that.
just be looking like this the whole time. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
bend them.
You can bend them. So then
Okay,
there's
well,
that,
I mean,
or
you can like do this because I mean, like you can do that.
oh yeah, but
You
like,
can't bend. Yeah, you
can't do
can't
that.
bend.
Yeah. And then the toes would be like little chubs, like no, like totally flaccid, like shrinkage type beat, kind of.
Hmm.
You get
Well,
me?
that adds a different layer because um my dad just got home and I have my window open and he literally stopped the car and was just staring at me through the window. Um, but yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
it was very weird. But I would probably have to say the toes one just because I feel like with the fingers, like those are like exposed, so like that would be a little awkward. But at least like with the toes, you can cover it up with some socks and shoes. And then also, I don't feel like you really need to like toes are like a huge part in terms of walking, but if you really had to, like you can walk without like using your toes, like you can walk on your heels or like the side of your feet. Um, you're at like a lot higher risk of spraining your ankle, but I feel like I would rather walk like an idiot than have like penises on my hands. So I think
See,
that's what
that's
I'm gonna go with.
interesting. That's interesting because I think I would go penises on my hands because like if you don't have like regular toes or if you have like little chubs for toes, then like you can't really grip the floor that well. Like if you're trying to play like basketball or something, you want to make a hard stop. Like you can't really do that because a lot of the like force and the torsion goes on your toes.
Then you
So
can't really
that's
shoot a basketball either because your hands are stiff. You can't bend them. So
there's a lot you can't do. I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot you can't do with either one,
yeah,
but I think with the hands thing, like you can still kind of like grab stuff if you're super subconscious about like, having penises on your fingers and like gloves, I guess. You need some big boy gloves, custom made, but it can't be too bad. Like, I'm sure it's rough, but I think I would do the fingers over toes. But let me add another layer to this. Imagine like, yeah, the toes are like, you know, half chub, whatever. Imagine if they get hard. Would
can
you
they
rethink?
though? I mean, in terms of like the question, this sounds like your toes will always be soft and your hands will always be hard. Because
Yeah,
like
but
if the hands are always going to be hard, then like I, I mean, I guess it would depend on like what the person who asked the question was thinking. Like, is it always going to be soft or is it always going to be hard or can like both? Because one like either both of them or none of them are able to like change or not. So like either hands and toes are able to, be hard and soft, or they're just one's hard, one's soft, and they don't change.
then imagine they can
That's how
both
I
change.
interpret it. Okay, if they can both change, I think I'd still go with the feet just because it would be very weird to have the penises for fingers. And plus I just feel like I would rather have my own fingers to like grab things. I can still use my hands properly and I don't have to like I don't know, I feel like hands are more important than feet in terms of like because you can still like do like different tasks. Like you can walk around and if anything you just end up being in a wheelchair. But like as soon as like your hands are like stiff, like that's the thing too. Like if we're assuming that our fingers, like now that they're penises, if they have the same, you know, if you you're getting horny, like and your fingers become soft, and then all of a sudden they come hard, like and you're like around someone, right? Like they're gonna get the wrong idea, like whoa, bro,
Yeah.
don't pull out your fingers like that, bro. I don't want to see that, right? So it's like you bring it to the toes, they won't know. And it's the same thing for us because like we're wearing shorts, no one knows.
See, but how
So
would you cover it if you get hard? I mean, you can cover it, but like, how would you wear shoes if you get hard out of nowhere? Like you were soft, but then they grow like a few inches. Like that's gonna hurt.
yeah, I mean they probably hurt, but like maybe you just get bigger shoes now. So like I'm 11 and a half, maybe you just go 12 and a half or something and or 13 and then you just have like big old clown shoes like just in case. But
I think I'd
I
rather.
also think like
Yeah.
it's kind of like when you're wearing like jeans. Like if you get jeans and things get crazy, it's like it doesn't like it grows, but it doesn't like it's not it's not like it goes from this to this. It kind of like it's
Goes
this, but
down.
then it just gets really stiff and it goes down, but it doesn't like hurt. So
See,
like
I
I feel
thought
like
we are
it'd just
gonna
be kind
keep
of
this
the same
PG,
thing.
but that's not happening. But
No,
yeah, continue.
no, you can't. There's too many layers
Yeah,
to this.
no,
Like you
yeah,
just
you're
can't.
right. You're right.
But I think I would still go toes because you can hide it better, and I think just in terms of like public humiliation, like if you have penises on your fingers and you get hard, like that's gonna be a yikes. Like imagine being on a date and you're drinking water, you're soft, right? You're drinking the water, and all of a sudden like starts expanding. You drop the glass. Now you're all drenched with water, and now the girl's like, "Oh wow," right? Like, what's this all about? Like, if you just put it to the toes, you don't have to worry about any of that.
See, but could you even get a date if you're wearing clown shoes though? Because even like, okay, the jeans analogy, yeah, the jeans make sense, but like you don't have that space with the shoe, you know? It
Yeah, that's
just
true.
goes straight. Yeah.
But hey, I mean, like if you're wearing like size 13 shoes, I mean, big feet, big big heart.
Stop.
So
Stop.
I mean, I don't think it's a negative turned into a positive in my opinion. So
Okay. I'm still gonna rock with hands, but I understand the logic. I think we spent too much time on this question for how basic it is.
no, no, I put plenty amount of time.
I think we could even go longer, but it's cool. It's cool. Okay. I got another two questions from the same person. Shout out, you know who you are. Thank you. We sort of talked about this yesterday. Would you go without sex slash any sexual activities or sports for a month? I, this is easy. I wouldn't do sex or sexual activities because the feeling of dropping buckets on people's heads is unmatched. And you do not get like that regretful post nut clarity feeling after you drain a
Oh
three
my
in someone's
God.
eye. Simple as that. And I'm not getting either right now. Like I'm crippled Carl and whatnot, but that's easy decision for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any sexual activity in my life, so I'd be fine giving that up. Uh, Definitely have to do the basketball playing and watching, so I'm not really
Oh
losing
yeah.
much.
Yeah. That one's pretty straightforward. But I mean, guys, I don't think value sex that much. Like,
No.
nah, it's not that deep. Uh, Next one was, would you rather go skinny dipping or streaking?
Um, I'd probably say skinny dipping.
Okay,
I
why?
feel like, well, I don't know. I feel like the sensation of water would feel better than like air. Like I feel like it would be like because I feel like the point of like skinny dipping and like streaking is kind of like oh wow, I'm outside and I'm naked, right? Or like, oh, I'm in the pool and I'm naked. So
Hmm.
like, I mean, like you can say it's like, oh, well, you're naked in the shower or like in the bath, but I feel like the pool because it's outside, like that's just a different like environment for it. So I don't know. I think just like the sensation of like being in the water would be a little bit different. And plus it's like not so like obvious as well. Like when you're streaking, like I guess I'm just like not for the public humiliation. Like
Exactly.
whether you're hung or not, like I feel like it'd be very awkward to just be like outside, like naked. Like it'd be very
Yeah.
weird.
I mean, even if you're hung, like, you're not gonna be running around full chub. Like, you're
Yeah,
not
but
gonna
if
be
you're
hard.
hung, like it's still hung. Like it don't matter. Like it's hung no matter what, right?
I've seen a fair amount of penises in my life. I don't think that's the case.
Well, at least it's more hung than someone who's small.
I guess. But it also depends on the weather too. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
shrinkage, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of penis talk today.
Yeah, y'all, whoever these questions are horny as fuck, bro.
Y'all were down bad. But yeah, I would go with the skinny dipping too. Just 'cause like I think it's more fun because you like do it with people. I've never like come across a video of someone streaking like with friends or whatever. Skinny dipping, you don't do that alone.
Yeah, if you propose streaking to your friends, we're like, hey, you do what you want, but I ain't doing that shit. Skinny
Well,
dipping
actually,
is like a
no. There's
different thing.
at Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, like every year. I think on like the first day it rains or something in April. I don't know, but there's like a naked run, and so either you show up in like underwear or just totally butt naked, and you run from like the dorms to I think like the soccer field or something, and like everyone does it. So I guess that's like a group streaking kind of thing. But other than that, like I haven't heard or seen anything like that.
Yeah, I don't participate in any of those activities,
Couldn't
but
be
I
me.
just feel like skinny dipping would be a lot more interesting,
Yeah,
and it
I
wouldn't be as
think
like embarrassing.
yeah, because also like when you're in the water, nobody's really seeing anything. So
Yeah, it's all distorted by the water. It's just like you all know what's going on, but like you can't like see what's going on really. So,
I mean that's like if it's daylight. Like if it's night, you're not seeing anything anyways. So
oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, like
yeah.
there's the light in the pool, assuming that there is one.
I'm thinking like about a lake. Like you're running into a
Oh, like
lake. Yeah.
lake? Oh, okay.
I
I
mean
was thinking
either
like a
way, like
pool,
it's
like
still
at a
skinny
house.
dipping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh Yeah, I think skinny like it would honestly I would consider skinny dipping at some point. It just has to be with the right people.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do it, but maybe,
Yeah. It's like
maybe
a
put it
it's
on the
sort of like a
bucket list.
bucket list thing.
Yeah,
Somewhat. It's like I don't know if I want to put that on the bucket list, but like it could be.
yeah, it definitely could be. It's an honorable mention. It's a thought that does come to mind, but
Honorable mention,
I
yeah.
don't know if it's something I really need.
Yeah, like I don't think I'll really miss out on much if I do it or if I don't do it,
Mhm.
but it's cool to just say you did it, I guess. Like I know there's a
Yeah,
spot, Garden of Eden, like on the way to Santa Cruz. Have you heard of it?
no.
Oh, well, it's like there's like a little waterfall, I think. There's like water and all that. I had a friend, she was like, yeah, there's a spot like over there, like that's perfect for skinny dipping. Well, okay. So I want to check out like the area anyways. I doubt I'd skinny dip there, but I think, waterfall, that's a vibe. That's pretty
That
cool.
is fun.
Yeah.
Waterfall and naked people. That sounds like a vibe.
I mean, I think like the waterfall is separate from like where you might go to skinny dip, but what do
uh,
I know? It's close to Santa Cruz. There's some wild folk out there. Uh,
Wild folk.
some wild folk. Speaking of like nudity and water, like nude beaches, couldn't be me. I don't think I'd ever go to one.
Yeah, I don't know. That it's like the same thing with like streaking. It's just like very weird. Like at least like with I guess like nude beaches, it's a little bit more organized, I guess. Like people are there for the experience.
Hmm.
So and then like you pretty much have to be nude. Well, I don't know. I think you could show up to a nude beach with clothes on, but it's
I
just
think
more
it's
of
like
like a
really
hey, we're
suggested.
allowing nudity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, I don't know if I would go to one.
I wouldn't simply for the fact that like I had a teacher at Westmont who was like, yeah, I went to like a nude beach in Greece and it was just all old guys. I was like, okay, then that takes out like that's just creepy.
It's pretty much just an outdoor like men's gym, like
Yeah,
bathroom.
yeah.
Because
Like
I think every time I've gone into like the men's bathroom at the gym, I've never seen a young guy in there. It's always just old motherfuckers who are butt ass naked looking at themselves in the mirror. Like they're just standing so proudly with their hands on their sides, like, yeah, I'm naked. Like, I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
did
Like
that.
it's and I'm not saying like I want to see younger, guys, but it's just like it's always an old ass dude. Like I feel like people our age are just like not there at our points of life where it's like we don't give a shit. So I think that's probably
Yeah.
why it's all just old people because like people our age are like they have the same like hesitation towards it, but then they get to the age where we're just like them, and then we'll eventually fit the mold.
I mean, maybe. I feel like there's been a trend. I could be totally wrong. I feel like there's been a trend of like the younger people, like as they're growing up, they tend to not like go like nude beaches and all that stuff. Like I was reading a study yesterday where like nightclubs in the UK, they're not as busy as they were like 50 years ago. And that's because like the younger generation that's now growing up, like they're not really like doing those sorts of things. And so I feel like that could also be applied to like nude beaches, but what do I know?
Yeah,
That's just a hypothesis. Yeah. Well, that's it for my questions.
yeah. And I don't have any more. So, um, if you don't have anything that comes to mind to talk about, I have something I would like to talk about.
What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? Speak
I'll
up.
talk about the NBA 75th anniversary team.
Okay. You mean the
So,
76?
yeah, the
76
76
man,
because
75
yeah,
lineup team.
there was a tie. So the NBA, it's their 75th anniversary this year. So they had former players, coaches, execs, even I think some current players as well had a vote in this. But they pretty much had to list 75 players who they think are like the best of all time. Um, and it actually ended up being 76, like Hamza alluded to, because there was a tie between two people. So instead of just picking one, they just picked both, which I guess is fine. Um, but I also highly doubt that there is an actual tie because I think they had like 70, 75 people voting. So I'm actually I feel like the chances of the tie are very low and it happened. So that's very interesting. But yeah, I had a couple problems with this list, but I wanted to get Hamza's opinion first because I feel like I probably have more to talk about. So I just want to see what he has to say and I'll add on to it.
Yeah, my thoughts about it, like I didn't really care too much about it. I thought they're actually in like rank, like one, two, three, four, five. And so when they started releasing the list, I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're just like throwing out names for now and then they'll rank it like as the season goes on. But no, that I guess isn't the case. Uh my issues, like you texted me about it the other day. It's like there's too many black and white photos for this to be like an all-time 75 list. I'm like, you got a point. Like I was looking at the list. Bro, Hal Greer, Dolph Shays, like who are these guys? Like I've sort of heard of them, kind of, but like I've never seen like a highlight mix or any of that stuff. Like whenever you think of NBA legends, you don't come up with these guys. And
Yeah,
so when you're dropping guys like Dwight Howard and putting these guys in place, like it makes me think that the voting was like I don't know what the ballot looks like or anything. I don't know if that was released, but I feel like it was like rank like the greats of like this generation then this generation because like there's no way that those dudes are making it over like a Clay Thompson and a Dwight Howard or something like that.
yeah,
Uh, that was my issue with it. Again, I think it would be cool if they ranked it, but I feel like there'd be more issue with that. So I can see why they're not, but I really didn't put much thought into it. I was like, it's whatever. Don't really care.
yeah. So when I actually saw Hal Greer on the list, I had never heard of him before. So I looked him up and I just looked him up so I could be exact in what I was saying. But I actually think he deserves to be on the Hall of Fame. So, or sorry, on the list. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a 10-time All-Star, an NBA champion, 7-time All-NBA, and says 67, 68 as MVP. So I don't know if he was Finals MVP or he was the MVP for that season. But I feel like being a 10-time All-Star and 7-time All-NBA, it's actually really good. And then having the chip obviously helps. So I think he deserves to be on the list. There's some other people, some other black and white names that I don't think deserve to be on the list. Um, those include Dave Bing, Billy Cunningham for sure. Let me get him real quick. I think he's the worst person on this list. Um, he's a 5-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. Um, he's an NBA champion, and then he was an MVP. But what's wrong with him is that like he only played 10 seasons in the NBA. In his last season, he only played 20 games. And he has another season where he played 32. So he really only had 8 years. So I feel like the longevity it isn't there. And he also kind of benefited just playing for the 76ers. Um, he was on the super team with Moses Malone and Julius Irving.
Hmm.
Um, and also like he played his first season off the bench, I think. But yeah, it was just like I don't know, like he has like good accolades, but I just think there's other players. Like I just think Dwight Howard has a better resume than he does, despite not having a championship. Just because I feel like Billy Cunningham, although he may be solid, I just don't think he is as impactful as as Dwight.
Wait, Dwight not having a ring because he won with the Lakers.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, I'll read off a couple other names that I don't think deserve to be on this list. Dave DeBuscher. Um, let's see. Sam Jones, I don't think deserves to
Yeah,
be on this list. Sam Jones I think he had all 11 championships with the Celtics with Bill Russell, but it's kind of like I feel like they're overvaluing, the championships for his resume because I don't think he was. It's like for me, it's like if they're gonna have him as like a main contributor to those teams, which he was, like he was a solid contributor for those championship teams, but it's like you're also not going to have someone like Clay Thompson on the list or Draymond
exactly.
Green. Like those guys equally brought as much value, even if Draymond statistically wasn't there. At least like in his prime, he's giving you 12, like 7, 8 rebounds, assists, and then he's giving you elite defense. Like, and he was able to shoot threes back then, so he's shooting solid percentage as well. So it's like for me, like even though yeah they didn't win as many championships as fucking Sam Jones because they played in an era where there weren't that many teams, and Bill Russell was just so great to the point where he was able to get 11 rings. Like I don't know, it's just like I'm fine with Sam Jones being on the list, but again, it's like Klay Thompson's not on the list, so it's like
Keep it consistent.
I feel like Klay Thompson should be on that list for the same reason why Sam Jones is because he was a contributor for those championship teams. Jerry Lucas, maybe I'm leaning towards no, for him not to be on there. Pete Maravich should not be on this list, despite having the nickname and actually being a very innovative player for his era. I just don't think he accomplished enough, and he didn't have a long enough career to be on this list. But there was that. Who
There's
else?
a couple other things. Well, one thing I want to mention, but you can keep going.
Lenny Wilkins, Wes Unseld, unfortunately. Dolph Shays, I actually think this deserves to be on this list. I'll look up his stuff as well. He actually, I had never heard of him before the list, but he's a 12-time All-Star, an NBA champion, and a 12-time All-NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
So again, he's playing in a league, not that much talent, not as many teams. Because I'm pretty sure this was before the ABA merger. So, and he was also an NBA champion and a rebounding champion. But it's like you can discredit because he played in a weak era, I guess. But
that's my thing. It's like you can give credit to these guys that like at their time they're really good, but if you're looking at all time, I want more current guys. There's more skill, there's more talent. Like,
yeah,
if you put one of these guys that are playing now into that era, they're gonna have ridiculous stats. So it's like, I think they didn't really take that into account. Like that's what I'm saying, that I think they did it by like generation, like who are the best of this generation. But
yes. Yeah, so that's going to be like my very last point. So I listed the players that I don't think should make it. Also, like Dennis Rodman, I think I'm fine with him being on the list. I actually wasn't sure if he was going to make it, but again, it's like if we're going to put Dennis Rodman on the list, we have to put Draymond Green on the list because they're both completely different players. Rodman was more of like a rebound defense guy, and Draymond is more of a playmaking defensive guy. But like, just again, like Rodman is on this list because of his impact for the team, despite statistics showing that. So again, if he's on the list, I think Draymond should be on the list. Another problem I had with this list is that based off conversations that I've heard on like TV and on Twitter, everyone who voted, they pretty much came together and said, hey, the original 50, the top 50 list that they did for the 50th anniversary, we're keeping them. So instead of taking names off, people were so scared to take names off that they just kept the 50 and added 25 players. And that is stupid in my opinion, because the whole reason why they didn't want, to take players off is because they didn't want to hurt people's feelings. Well, guess what? Now you only have 25 spots and you're going to hurt other players' feelings because they didn't make the list when they should have, right? So, and it was the same thing for like Bob McAdoo and Dominique Wilkins. Like those guys just did not make it on the top 50 because there just wasn't enough spots. And that's fine. I'm sure there was, 2 players that could have been taken off the list, but like that's a little bit more understandable. And then there wasn't a top 25 list. So that was the first time that they had did it, right? So it's like when you take that into account where there's only 25 spots left, 2 of them are pretty much solidified with Bob McAdoo and Dominique because they were the biggest snubs of the last list. So they were going to make it. And then you have all-time, players like Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Westbrook, Curry, Durant, like all those guys are going to make it. By the time you get to the very end of this list, there's really only 3 spots left. And and like that's where it gets really tough, right? So it's like I was getting really scared with the way that they're releasing this list because I was like, I don't think Melo's going to make this list. He made the list, but by the time they finished the list and they had Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis I think should also be on this list. But again, it's like it looks bad because they kept the original 50, right? So when you're putting Anthony Davis on the list and not including Dwight, who has accomplished more, right, and has a longer career than Anthony Davis, it's like, what are we doing? Like, this
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. So, like, taking that into account, that they only added 25 players, it's even crazier that they didn't add Dwight because they put Dame, and Dame has only made 6 All Stars, 6 All NBA, and he has 1 Western Conference Finals appearance. You know, granted, he's played the Warriors a lot. It's totally fine. I get it. But when you're looking at Dwight Howard's resume, despite playoff success, so 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time All NBA. That on its own is a better career than in terms of accolades than Damian Lillard, and he has more accolades than that. Like there's just more, but that's just those are the main things about Dwight Howard's career. And also, just to add on to like how insane it is, like 8 All NBA selections. There's only like 32 players in NBA history who have 8 All NBAs or more. And even though there's some players who have like 6 or 7, and they could probably make some more now, like Paul George, Giannis, Luka, like still the fact that there's only 32 players who have that have 8 All NBA, and he's not on the list. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. I was gonna mention how I don't think Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard should be on the list. Damian Lillard especially, because it's like, yeah, he's super good now, but what has he done? Uh, it's just like the personal accolades. Like he hasn't done much to help his team. I mean, he's helped his team, but like they haven't achieved anything. So I don't think he deserves a spot, but it's whatever.
I think I was a little bit more like progressive in terms of like the people I was thinking of, because honestly, I was thinking like Jokic or Luka would make this list because Jokic is already an MVP. And I should also add Jokic and Derrick Rose are the only MVPs not on the list. Everyone else who's had an MVP is on the list. So that's why I was kind of thinking Jokic may make the list because he was an MVP. And he's also had some pretty good playoff success. So just in his short, career. So I thought maybe he'd be like a Shaq pick because Shaq only played 3 years in the NBA when they made the top 50 list, and he still made it. And I remember that being kind of a big deal because again, like Dominique Wilkins and Bob McAdoo weren't on the list. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I was thinking Jokic and God,
Derrick Rose.
yeah, Derrick Rose. Honestly, I don't know if Derrick Rose would make it because of longevity.
Yeah.
But I think I was a little bit more like progressive in terms of like people who I thought would make the list. But I think Dwight Howard is the biggest snub for sure.
Yeah. Kind of a snub. That's whatever. Like, if I was in their shoes, like it's a whatever kind of thing. It's like that's not gonna help me reach a championship or become a better player. It's like it's whatever. I wasn't expecting to see guys like Luka, maybe Jokic. You can make the argument because like he's already really good. But yeah, like the really young guys now, I was like, there's no shot. They haven't done anything, which is why I was surprised to see Damian Lillard on it, even though he's been in the league for a bit, but and he hasn't achieved much. So
Yeah,
that's my take on it.
but yeah, the one thing that you did say was kind of like you said something along the lines of it's more of like greatest players like in an era. So like the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like I feel like the problem with this list isn't necessarily like the biggest problem to me is actually not the names that they have on the list, but it's the title. They call it the top 75. So most people expected the 75 greatest players. But when you're refusing to take people off the list, you're refusing to follow the criteria that comes along with the title top 75,
Yeah.
right? At this point, you're just writing a story about the NBA like, oh, there was this player. He did this and this, and he revolutionized the game. That's why Pete Maravich is on this list because he was an integral part of advancing the league in terms of ball handling and passing, and he was even shooting threes when threes weren't even like a thing yet. Like he was
Hmm.
shooting these long range shots. So like Pete Maravich, I think like in terms of what they were thinking the top 75 is, like it makes sense. But because when we think top 75, we think best players, right? Greatest of all time. And you're refusing to take names off the list. Like this list should really be like somewhere, like it should be named like players of an era. And then you just like put them in like, oh, here's the players in the 50s that revolutionized the game.
Yeah.
60s, 70s. Like they're not following what is like, they're not following the expectation that comes along with the title of a top 75 list. So I feel like that's the biggest issue with the list. It's just the name, and they just didn't follow it. Like that's the thing. It's like this is the name, and you have to follow it. And when you're not following it, like it completely defeats the purpose of what the list is for.
Exactly. I knew there'd be some issues with it when it came out, and like there's gonna be somewhat like controversy and snubs and stuff at the end of it, but I think that was just expected.
Yeah, I definitely expected some snubs too, but like when you look at the top 50 list, like only saying there's two snubs, like and like after that, like you're kind of reaching. Like I think that's a solid list. If there's two people that like maybe could or could not make the list, like you can make the argument, I don't think that's bad. But there's a lot of players that I just think deserve to be on that list. I think the most underrated name is Dikembe Mutombo, because when you look at all the players who won Defensive Player of the Years, Dikembe won three, Dwight won three, Gobert's won three, even though I don't think Gobert should be on this list. Let's get this straight. Gobert should not be on this list. But like, I am so surprised Dikembe Mutombo did not make this list. Like, I feel like most players who won Defensive Player of the Year did not end up on this list. And I feel like that's kind of bad. Like at that point, like you're just recognizing people who can score the basket, like
Yep.
score the basketball, like, and you're not giving credit to people who were defensive anchors for teams. Like Dikembe Mutombo was a main contributor to an 8 seed that beat a 1 seed. Like he was good. Like that's what it's like. I don't get that really at all. And it's like if we're gonna give Dennis Rodman the benefit of the doubt on stats and say that he was a high impact player, why is Dikembe not on this list when statistically he's better and the impact is there? So it's like
I think team success was a big part of it, and like you can give some credit to Rodman, but a lot of it goes to MJ and Scottie
mm-hmm,
Pippen too. But yeah,
mm-hmm.
the league has always been more emphasized on offense, not so much defense. So that is definitely reflected in the list.
But then like what's the point of defense wins championships then? Because that's a statement that's said in all sports.
I
It's
mean,
like
yeah,
defense wins
but
championships. But then when
what
it comes to making a list of greatest players, you really don't include any players who've won multiple defensive player of the years.
this is for greatness, not like championships. So I think I was going somewhere with this. What creates highlights? Like, what do you see most of when you go to like House of Highlights? It's offense. That's
Yeah, it's
going to
offense.
create like clout for a player. That's going to create their name and all that. Like, we know the really dynamic offensive players in the league. Lou Dort, like outside of the OKC bubble, like he's a meme, sure, but like that's a really good defensive player, probably like maybe top 10 in the league and on the perimeter. Uh,
Yeah.
and like he doesn't get any recognition, but like top 10 offensive player, maybe like shooting or whatever it is, like they're gonna get so much more attention just because it's offensive based. So that's
Yeah,
the
I mean like in terms of just like I guess offense is just the more like appealing part of any sport, I feel, just because it's easier to like understand and like kind of recognize like where the talent is. Like if you're not scoring, like for a casual play like watcher, when they see someone scoring the ball, it's like, oh wow, he's really good, right? But like I feel like defense is more of like a like die hard or like at least like more like devoted fan of a sport where it's like
yeah.
you can recognize like oh this guy's really good defensively, like look at the way he's moving, he's really quick side to side or whatever. Like someone like Giannis where it's like oh he can guard multiple positions, like that's not something a casual fan notices on their first game is Giannis is guarding 1 2 5. Like that's just not something that they notice. So I feel like offense is definitely more like like more digestible in terms of like viewing. But again, like the people who voted on this list are like retired players and like coaches and even current players, so they should understand the impact that defense has on a game, especially when all they talk about is defense wins championships. Dwight Howard is the 3-time Defense Player of the Year recipient, and he led a team to the finals. He beat LeBron, by the way. LeBron is on the list. LeBron has 3 primes according to Twitter, where it's like 09, 2018, and 07, or no, 2013. So 2018, 2013, and like 09. It's like LeBron's 3 primes, which is dumb. Yeah, his prime is 2013, but
Mhm.
so it's like if you're telling me a guy beat LeBron in one of his primes as a center, and he's a defensive anchor, and he's not on the list, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
pretty silly.
it's pretty rattus, but what can you do about it? I'm not tripping. I didn't really care about the list. They put it out. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like the only time I saw the list was when it's like on NBA TV, just at the bottom. All right,
Mm.
yeah, there's the list. That's a list, all right.
Yeah, I was really interested in the list because I wanted to see like how many current players were going to be on the list. Because again, I was assuming that they're going to take some players off, so I wanted to see like who they're going to take off and who they're going to add. But it ended up just being like very obvious picks, and they missed like one of the most obvious picks, which was Dwight.
Yeah,
Like I feel, and there's been multiple people like Bill Simmons had a vote. Um, who's there's one guy. He's on Pardon the Interruption. He does stuff with like Stephen A. Smith. Michael Wilbon. He said he voted for Dwight Howard. I'm pretty sure. Um, he also said he voted for Clay and Pau Gasol. Um, which is just so crazy to me because again, like he also said that he didn't take anyone off the original 50. So I really want to know who he
oh
took off
yeah,
off the new players.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Shit's crazy.
crazy man. Segue into a different topic, or you want to add anything?
No, that's pretty much it. I was just interested in the list. Wanted to they would take off. They didn't take anyone off. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah. Oh well. But next topic, we talked about it a little bit yesterday night, but uh, Comethazine drops an album.
Hmm.
You put up something a little crazy. Comethazine, the album dropped on Friday, well, Thursday, the 21st, 9 p.m. Pacific time. Uh, See, I think like we're the only people who like really listen to Comethazine. I doubt like his fan base has definitely dropped a bit, but like anyone I talk to, they're like, oh, like I've maybe heard the name, but like, I don't listen to him. But we're gonna talk about him because this album went hard. Uh, it is what 16 or yeah 18 songs, almost 33 minutes, 18 songs. So, uh, thoughts? What were your initial thoughts, and what are you feeling now?
Yeah, so when I first listened to it, I listened to it while I was working out. So I just feel like murder music is good to listen to when you're trying to lift some dumbbells. But the first half of the album, I wasn't like there wasn't necessarily anything like bad, but nothing was really like sticking out to me. But once we get to this back half of the album on SK Music, pretty much every song after that is like a certified banger, um, except for the second to last song that I can't say. Um,
Not allowed to
but
say.
if you look at the title names, you'll understand why. But I mean, all those other songs like I really enjoyed, and then I listened to it a bunch more after that, like 3 or 4 more times, and I definitely am like enjoying the first half a little bit more. But in terms of songs that like I added, on the first half I added was it Hala, um, Wake Up 2016 Unreleased, Spin Back, Balls to the Wall, and then 4 Deep. So like just off that like first half, those are like the main songs. But even like the songs before then, No Hype, God's Schedule, Lord, Six Flags, like those are kind of like okay songs. But they to me like there's just something in them, whether it's like maybe the energy, like there's not enough like effort from Comethazine, the hook is just bad, or there's like a really like cringe line that he says that I just can't get over. Like those are like the main reasons like why I don't like those songs and why I didn't really add them to any of my playlists. But see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 18. That's not too bad for a Comethazine album, in my opinion.
That's really good. Yeah. Uh, for me, I was waiting at 9 p.m. ready to go to listen to this album. Hopped in the car because that's where we got a subwoofer. And if it's a Comethazine album, you need some bass. So it dropped, I think, like 9:15-ish. I started my drive around. Then I went like straight through, like no shuffle or anything. Uh, it was longer. Like the album felt really long, which is nice. You don't normally get that from a Comethazine album, but the first half I didn't really like look at it in halves or anything. But the songs I didn't like Lord, for example, they're just super lazy. It's like just a hook, maybe a couple verses, and that's it. And you go back into a hook, and it's like you could have done a lot more with this. And that's like sort of a theme that we've seen with his more recent music, I feel. Uh, but as a whole, the project I think was really good. Definitely like a newer kind of sound than we're used to compared to his like past albums. Uh, but like No Hype, that one's growing on me for sure. Uh, Solar Freestyle, that was a much different than what he's done in the past. Like the beat was just kind of like a video game kind of mix, but like also really hard hitting. I just like seeing him do something different, even though it was like super long, very repetitive. But that's just Comethazine for you. Other than like the long part, because we're used to like minute long songs. Four Deep is definitely a favorite. Um, he's been hinting at that one for a while, so I've listened to snippets a few times, but that's a favorite for sure. Other ones like they're really good. It's still kind of growing on me. I've listened to it like maybe 5 times through now. Uh, and I know like the rest are gonna grow on me, so I'm pretty happy with it. As far as I know, like at least from what I've heard, I think off like Reddit, uh, this is his last album under Alamo Records, so he should be uploading stuff more consistently. Uh, his samples and stuff should be cleared and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that if that's the case. I don't know like if that's legit or not, but if that's the case, I'm really excited because he's been holding back a lot of stuff. Like there's snippets from like 2, 3 years ago that we've been waiting for them to drop, but he just hasn't for whatever reason. Or like he switched the beats on stuff. So that's my take on it. Pretty happy with it, but it'll get better.
Yeah, I like I think in terms of like the sound, it definitely sounds a lot better than his last two projects, Bosky 4 and then what was the other one?
Pandemic.
Yeah, Pandemic. Like those two, like those were just kind of like a not like throwaway, but it was just more of the same, but like not as good like from his older stuff on like Bosky 3.5 or even like just one or two. Like I just don't think those two were as good as those previous three albums. But like in terms of like production, I feel like production really stepped up. You had a lot more like big name producers. You had Quay on there. You had Bobby Johnson on there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he had someone else. I forget who it was, but he definitely had like more of like I feel like production was definitely like more of a like um focused thing on this album, at least like for Comethazine, just because a lot of the beats like there's a lot more like different sounds. I feel like those sounds kind of fit him a little bit more. There's a lot of like video game esque things. That's the only reason why I like somewhat like Solar Freestyles because of the beat. It's very like hyper pop. It's like the Trip at Night with the Trippy Red album, like
Yeah.
definitely gave me those vibes. Um, But again, it was like just repetitive for me. I didn't like, and it was a really long song. As much as I like joke around that like Comethazine, only makes minute long songs, like 3 minutes 25 seconds for a repetitive song, just that's not what I'm looking for. Like if you're gonna be repetitive, just keep it short. But like if you're gonna do a 3 minute song and you're gonna like switch things up, like that's fine. But when you're just gonna be repetitive for 3 minutes, like that's no.
You can
I'm
keep
okay
that.
on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like just production in general is like a major improvement. Definitely the best since 3.5. I can say that with certainty. Um, yeah, I mean it's same old Comethazine, but definitely sounds a lot better. Um, I hope that like if what you're saying in terms of like he's going to be kind of independent now, and he's going to get samples cleared. I hope like those samples bring more of like different instrumentals, kind of like what this album brought, because I can definitely get on to some of that.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised you're saying that like Pandemic and Bosky 4 you weren't really big fans of. Because those like people might not like him as much as his past stuff, but like I think they're kind of underrated. Like Pandemic, that was a lot different. Like you can say it's like throwaway, kind of lazy, but I think some of that stuff went hard. Uh, Bosky 4, I was very much into at first. I think just that like I mentioned yesterday, it's just been a while since he put out an album. Like he put out the album October 22nd, and that was the exact same day actually that he put out Bosky 4 last year. So it's been a year since we got a full album. I think he only dropped like 3 singles in between that time. So we
Mhm.
were kind of just like that was the most recent like Comethazine stuff. So I got kind of sick of Bosky 4, but there's still like a couple good songs there from time to time. Uh 3.5 I think is like his that was his peak right there. But
Yeah.
maybe like LeBron he'll have multiple peaks, but I don't know. Uh 3.5 is definitely a banger. I remember driving to the cabin when we listened to that for the first time, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this hits.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, hopefully we get better stuff. The other thing is like, I wish he did features, dude. He said he was gonna get features, and then like a day before he announced the album, he's like, "There's only 3 features, and they're all producers. Like, I don't do features. I'm better off solo." I was like, dude, just switch it up. Do something different. Like, get people on your songs. Like, it would be fun. It's something new. It's something different.
Yeah.
Uh, there is
I
this.
think what's hard for like Comethazine is that like because his music is so different from like just what's like popular, like he can only get kind of like I mean he can get features that like maybe people don't really know about. But then like the features that he had on Bosky One, I mean he had Ugly God, he had
Lil
Yachty,
Yachty.
and and
That's it.
didn't he have Made in Tokyo as well?
No,
Oh, I thought he did.
no.
Am I tripping? Who am I thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of ASAP Ferg.
He had Rocky
um,
on Walk, but that was a remix that they put out when they
yeah,
went on
and
tour
that
together.
yeah. So I feel like Comethazine is just kind of like a different artist to the point where like it's hard to get maybe features that like are normally features. Like I think a Comethazine Gunna song would be so weird. Like I just
Hmm.
don't think that would work. Or even like a Comethazine Little Baby, like that just wouldn't work. Like those are like main features. So I feel like with Comethazine, it's probably hard to find someone for a feature. But I also think like because he's underground, just like put other underground artists on. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he sort of has his own label, and so he gets like some of those guys from time to time. Oh, the other thing, he's putting out a movie. He's directing, editing, and doing his own movie. And I know for a
man of
fact he's
many
gonna put.
talents.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this dude makes music. He's a movie producer. He made a music video for 4 Deep. It's like in his YouTube bio or Instagram bio. It's not on like you can't just search it up, but he directed, shot, edited the whole thing, and then he's making the movie and he owns 2 Subways. Like dude's an investor, director, rapper, like what else could you want? He's a well-rounded
All he
man.
knows is chasing the bag.
He's after it, bro. But there's actually a Trippy Red song. At least we think it's a Trippy Red song where Comethazine and Mario Judah are the features. And there's a snippet on YouTube and it goes hard. It's only like it's a loop of like maybe 20 seconds, but I'm so hyped for that. And I was hoping it'd be on Trip at night, but it wasn't. So hopefully on the next Trip, yeah, if it's his song, then it'll be
Yeah.
out. But yeah, that goes hard. But yeah, I agree. His style is really hard to match. I know him and Smoke Perp have always talked about like we need to put a song out together. Uh, I think Rich the Kid made a remix to Walk or something. So like there are dudes that rock with him.
Oh,
It's just
really? I
like
didn't know that.
yeah, it's just he's not doing that stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully he
that's
changes.
a
But
little
who knows?
disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get into on that, or do we just talk about life,
Um,
bro?
no, I think the last thing I'll say is like definitely like at least like for me when I was saying like pandemic and Bosky 4 were just kind of like to me. It's just kind of like because I just there's just like there's songs that I like, but it's just not that many songs that, like I go back to compared to like his older stuff. But I feel like this current like his album that he just dropped, I think there's definitely gonna be some bangers that I'm gonna be listening to for a long time. So and that's simply because like I think the production definitely, was better than the
Yeah,
past two.
there's a lot more variety, which I can respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of covers the topics that we were shooting to kind of touch on today. Again, you guys didn't come through with questions, so we're like, all right, we're just gonna kind of like wing it, see like, where conversation leads us. One thing I can think about, dude, it's windy, it's rainy, I'm loving it. Like this is my favorite time of year,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy about it. Like
Yeah.
I was on my way to work Friday. Like it's a pretty long drive. I went to the office for the first time in like a month and a half, but dude, it was pouring rain, and I was like trying to keep close enough to the car in front of me to where like I could see their brake lights, because like it was just foggy, it was rainy, you couldn't see anything. I was like, this is nice, this is perfect,
It's nice not being able to see while I'm driving.
dude. There was one time senior year where I think it was like my first time driving in the rain, or at least like hard rain, and I didn't know that like you can defog like the inside of the car. Like there's like vents to do that. So
Oh my God, Hamza.
dude, I'm driving from like downtown Los Gatos back home, and I'm like, I can't see anything. Like I'm going to crash this car. I don't know how people drive in the rain. I remember my mom was like, "Can you pick up your sister from the train station?" I was like, I can't see anything. I don't know how you guys are doing it. Like I'm not picking her up. And then I was driving with a friend, and then it got foggy. And he turned the fan on. I was like, dude, how is it clear? Like, what are you doing? I I felt so dumb in that moment, but lesson learned. Uh, you can defrot or defog your car when it rains. So pro tip right
Yeah, that's
there
always
for
good.
you. Yeah,
That's
for
always
you
a good thing to
drivers.
have when you're
Yeah,
driving.
that's gonna come in
Yeah,
handy.
I like the rainy weather. The only thing that sucks is like now that I moved, I don't have or I just found a spot to like take Bowie, like when he needs to, go potty or whatever. There's like some redwood trees and like it provides just enough cover to where like we won't get like soaking wet in the rain. Because like before, where I used to live, I was able to just like go down the stairs and go left, and like there's just, like trees there, and there's like a nice big area, so like we wouldn't get wet at all. Maybe like a little on on like his paws and stuff, but
It's sort of
we won't be able to
expected.
stay like
Yeah.
yeah. But like at least like I found a spot so that like I'm not just walking in straight into the rain,
Yeah.
because then you're just gonna get super soaked and you'll smell like wet dog and just give him a bath. But it's nice that I found a nice little spot. He'll get like a little bit more wet than usual. And then I think my mom got him like a rain coat.
Oh,
So
perfect.
that's gonna be funny. I don't think he's gonna like it at all. He's gonna try to get it off of him.
Probably, yeah. You should try it now, see how he likes it.
I don't think we got it yet. I think my mom ordered it,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not here yet.
Yeah. No, like I just love this time of year. It's all cold. I can throw some fits together. Uh,
I know, right? I can finally wear a sweatshirt.
hoodie season, flannel season. I'm all here for it. I actually do need to go shopping. I haven't gone thrifting in a while. I kind of want to hit the Gilroy outlets at some point soon. Uh, Maybe hit Sonics too. Could be down for that. But yeah, looking forward to it. Minnesota trip next month. It's probably gonna be snowy. If not, it's probably gonna be rainy. I'm here for that. Uh, I was watching a video yesterday. It's actually not in the top 10 snowiest states. It's probably like 11, but like
Oh,
East Coast is where a lot of the snow hits. Outside of like Alaska, obviously. But did you know the snowiest state in all of America is Vermont? Bet you
no, I
didn't know
didn't.
that. Yeah, there
I
you
did
go.
not know that. That's actually, I actually would have thought it was Minnesota.
Yeah, no, it's actually Wisconsin gets more than Minnesota. I don't know about like how
Oh
much,
wow.
but they do. But Vermont, it's because like the East Coast states, like up in the north, it's because like you get the tropical stuff from the south that blows up and like the cold wind from the north. So like you mix that
Oh
together,
yeah.
it's just, you know, cocaine all over the ground and stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, a whole lot of white powder, the Colombian good. But yeah, can't wait for the cold. Uh, Anything else you want to talk about, or should we just wrap it up, make it a shorter pod?
I'm down to cut it short.
Cool. Yeah, I got fat papers to work on, stuff I got to put up a shelf today. Uh, Send out emails, dude. We productive 2021, all productivity.
Oh, did you
So
figure out your schedule?
I have 4 classes together. I think 3 or 4.
God. I'm taking 5 and like literally 4 of them I could only take at like certain times. So like on Monday and Tuesday, like I'm gonna be on campus at like 5 or 6, and like I'm getting
Oh,
out at
that's
like 8.
nasty.
Yeah, and it's
That's
bad
nasty.
too because like I have like an afternoon class on campus, and then there's a 4-hour gap. So I'm pretty much like gonna show up there at 12 and be there like for the rest of the night, and then come home at like 9.
You could just go home because like you're close enough, but
Yeah, but for me, like I would rather like just stay there and like work on homework because I don't have to keep driving back and forth. Because even though like I'm close, I do not want to drive back and forth 2 times
that's fair. Yeah, I would feel the
and then
same
just
way.
waste gas.
Yeah, bro. Gas be
But if I
pricey.
was able to like, if I was able to like walk home and then just walk back to class, like I would do that. But 15-minute drive, like 30 minutes each way, it's gonna be an hour driving just in total. Like I don't know, man.
I don't know. I might do it just because 4 hours is a long time. Like when I was at Dean's, I would have like 2 hour gaps, and that sometimes I would like go home, shower, eat, whatever, and then go back to school. But 4 hours, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a long time.
I think probably what I'll just do is like homework and then like just work out there
Yeah,
and like shoot around and just waste as much time
kill
as
time.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
if I get
but yeah,
hungry, I mean they got food there, so
yeah. There's a lot in downtown to eat and on campus too. So there's options. That wraps up this pod. If you guys want us to talk about like certain stuff, ask us questions, whatever, like just go for it, bro. Just go for it. Like I'm
yes,
not gonna
sir.
trip if it's been months since we've talked and you just like, hey, talk about quantum physics. Like I'm down. Let's do it. I got time. Uh, but 50 likes on this one. Drop the OnlyFans. You guys know the drill. I'm not gonna go through it all. Anything you want to add?
Nah, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
Deuces.